Selamat siang. Welcome back to Bali COVID-19 update. This is for February 23rd, 2022, and my name is Bruce. And as you can hear, I've had a bit of a relapse, and so I'm not feeling real great today. This is going to be a short one. One is it's been a slow news period, and two, I am just really exhausted. Could be that it's just my age and taking me longer to recover than most people. But anyway, let's get on with it. And we have two main stories today. The first main story, more on the quarantine-free travel in Indonesia, this time from Pak Sandiaga Uno. And well, he has something different than in the last video with the governor. And the second one is the peak passed in Bali. I don't know, we'll see. And an interesting situation in Kintamani that went viral, and I have a report on that here. And some more weirdness with foreigners, and a few more things. And so just take a look at the timestamp and you can see what you're interested in, because I know not everybody watches all of these things as they tend to be long. Today is a little shorter, as I said. So let's take a look at the numbers. In Indonesia, new cases 57,491. Recoveries 38,474. Deaths 257. So the numbers of new cases are pretty stable, as are the recoveries. The deaths have gone up some. It was about an average of 175 a few days ago, and so we're getting some more deaths, and I talk about that in a segment coming up. And let's take a look at the numbers in Bali here. New cases 760, so well below 1,000 again, and that's good news. Recoveries 2,132, and so recoveries close to 3 times as many as new cases, and that's really good news. And deaths 23. And so the numbers are not too bad. We have not shot up past the high of last week with 60,000+, but we have not really gone down a lot. So the numbers at this point are pretty stable, not going up, so maybe we have passed the peak. Let's hope so. And let's get on to the main story about the quarantine-free travel to Indonesia. And the main story is what else? Sandiaga Uno says quarantine-free entry for foreign tourists to begin April. Yes, main story, another quarantine issue, and somebody else pops into the story, as a lot of us have said for a long time. Too many chefs. Too many chefs in the kitchen. So what does Pak Sandiaga Uno have to say? Remember, the last main story was about the governor who said quarantine wants it to start in March. Well, here's the Minister of Tourism saying something else. He said, "We are currently reviewing it, including drafting guidance. If all goes well, hopefully, travelers entering Indonesia in April will be free from quarantine." Note that he said, if all goes well. However, Pak Sandiaga said that the government would use data based on health and science to determine the policy. The government, he added, is still wary of possible transmission of various COVID variants in the midst of the pandemic. And according to another segment I'm going to do, we've already passed the peak. And so, well, a lot of conflicting information. And as everybody knows, the quarantine-free travel policy is one of the most important things in terms of getting people back. You've got two things. You've got the quarantine and you've got visas. And so there's a move to get rid of the quarantine. Is that going to happen in March? Is it going to happen in April? Who knows? We haven't heard from, there's a lot of other ministers to go still. There's Pak Budi, there's Pak Luhut, there's Ibu Sri. We haven't heard from them yet. So who knows what's happening with the quarantine? Maybe we'll have none in March, maybe we'll have none in April, maybe we will have none in May or June or July. Hard to tell. You just have to wait and see. And in order to boost the number of foreign travelers, the government's going to rely on promotions of various international events that will be held this year, including MotoGP and, of course, G20. And while preparing for foreign tourist arrivals, the government is evaluating the reactivation of international direct flights to the country. And so we've got Bali and Batam and Bintan open, and other airports, Samratulangi, Yogyakarta, Surabaya. So how many airports is the government going to open for tourism? Just have to wait and see. And Pak Sandiaga Uno said, along with pandemic recovery and the implementation of the travel bubble scheme, negotiations of collaboration with several countries continue. So let's wait and see what happens Sunday. I'm sure somebody else will have something to say by then. And what about COVID in Indonesia? COVID-19 peak has passed in 5 provinces. So Indonesia recorded 34,418 new cases in the past 24 hours. That was yesterday, down nearly 10,000 cases from the previous day. Good signs, and down from when we had 60,000 last week. That number was 64,718 on February 16th. The health minister, Pak Budi, said that the number of new cases has been declining in Jakarta, Bali, Banten, Maluku, and West Nusa Tenggara. But Pak Budi warned that deaths may continue to increase over the next 2 weeks. Indonesia's been averaging 175 coronavirus-related deaths over the past week, including 176 deaths on Monday. And so these deaths are related to the big rise in numbers. And so as the numbers drop, the deaths should drop as well. But we're liable to see there's usually a few weeks in between the rise of cases and then the rise in deaths. And so we'll have to wait and see what happens over the next 2 weeks. But according to Pak Budi, things are looking good. Maybe we have passed the peak, and the numbers in Bali are suggesting that as well. And Pak Luhut said on his Monday conference that of the 2,484 COVID deaths recorded since the Omicron wave, 73% are patients who have not been fully vaccinated. Is the peak over? Are we going to continue to see numbers decrease? I hope so. And what did Pak Luhut have to say on his usual Monday night talks? No need for Indonesia to jump on bandwagon and release COVID-19 rules, he said. He said a number of countries, including Denmark, the UK, and Singapore, have started transitioning from pandemic to endemic status. However, he said Indonesia will make a gradual transition based on data on health, economic, social, and cultural indicators by applying the precautionary principle. He said the government learned from many countries to understand, analyze, and determine the best measures and models in observing the transition development. The government, he said, uses various indicators. These indicators include a high level of public immunity, a low case rate based on WHO indicators, adequate response capacity of health facilities, and active surveillance. Pak Luhut said the proposal for pandemic indicators to endemic will still be finalized with the experts. According to him, to achieve the transition to endemic, the government needs to accelerate the complete COVID-19 vaccination booster programs, especially for the elderly, people like me. And so the Indonesian government is continuing to go slow in this regard. And what about vaccines and vaccinations? Indonesia shortens vaccine booster interval for elderly to 3 months. So before it was 6 months. After your second shot, you had to wait 6 months before you got your booster. But that has been changed now to 3 months. This is for elderly people at the age of 60 and above. And according to Dr. Nadia Termizi, I talked about her many times, despite the primary vaccine regimen a person had received, she confirmed that the booster shots for elderly could be either homologous or heterologous, depending on the vaccine available in each region. She emphasized that all brands of vaccine have been granted the EAU from the Food and Drug Monitoring Agency, BPOM, and recommended by ITAGI, could be used as boosters for the elderly. However, since the Sinovac vaccine is limited and is prioritized for children aged 6 to 11, other brands are recommended for vaccination boosters. So, good news for the elderly who want to get the booster. They don't have to wait 6 months anymore. And why is Indonesia doing this? I think in order to keep the new cases down as well as the deaths for the elderly, because as I talk about in a different segment, most of the people that are dying are unvaccinated or partially vaccinated and are elderly and have comorbidities. And people have been buying do-it-yourself test kits. What about that? Health Ministry to rule sales of COVID-19 test kits in e-commerce. According to the health minister, Pak Budi, test kits are selling well since the prices are relatively affordable. Yeah, they're cheap. And people can do the test independently, which means you don't have to go to a government facility, you don't have to wait in line, you don't have to hang around people who are coughing and sick. But what about fake ones? Well, Pak Budi said, we are preparing rules for the self-PCR test at home. We also don't want everyone to sell these items that may harm consumers. He said, not all rapid antigen test kits sold in online stores are fake, despite the cheap prices. not all of them are fake. So if he said not all of them are fake, that means some of them are fake. The ministry has even tried the test kits from several brands, and the results were quite accurate, he said. He said the government will publicly announce the brands that they've tried and that are accurate. Okay, that's good news. Now, the government makes an announcement on what is a good one. I'm going to go out and buy some, especially at the prices that they're talking about here. According to this article, one kit is offered at only 19,000 rupees, much cheaper than having the same test at a health facility, which costs 40,000 to 85,000 rupiah. And it's recorded that at least 7,700 people have made purchases of online test kits, and almost all of them gave 5-star ratings to the product. Okay, and so we are getting to the point where you can do it yourself. And, well, I like that. And what's happening in Thailand? Thai health system nears capacity as COVID-19 infection surge rises. So the Thai healthcare system is reaching a critical point, with hospitals at full capacity and COVID-19 infections rising by tens of thousands a day, according to a medical expert. The deputy chairman of the Senate Committee on Public Health said that if the number of daily cases exceeds 30,000 within the next week or two, finding hospital beds for new patients will become difficult. The health system is currently capable of treating only 120,000 more COVID patients over the next 2 weeks, he said. And he suggested that patients with mild symptoms should be moved from hospital to field hospitals. Right now, about 49,000 patients are being treated at field hospitals, so they are still capable of admitting about 50,000 more patients. And almost 29,000 people with COVID-19 are in home isolation as they have no serious symptoms, and they're provided with medication. An important principle is that main hospitals should take care of patients with medium to serious symptoms. People with mild conditions should be at hospitals, at field hospitals, and infected people with no symptoms should be at home, according to the spokesperson. And what's happening in Ubud? Remember a few videos ago I was talking about this renovation project that's going to be going on in Ubud, making the sidewalks wider and making one-way streets narrower. A lot of things being developed there. Well, here's some more. I didn't know this was going to happen. I heard about this from a comment. Ubud Central Market set for demolition. So Ubud Central Market has been closed. Okay, I didn't know that. And I haven't been down to Ubud, wow, since I think maybe last May. In anticipation for the makeover, traders are being moved to the Ubud Central parking lot in nearby Sambahan area to vacate the market in order to allow for its total destruction. Wow, I really like the old market. The demolition will begin after there's an announcement of a winning bidder to be given the contract to bulldoze and level the market. The planned demolition of the market was made public in a statement from sub-district head of Ubud on Wednesday, February 16th. Paksuwija described how the rebuilding of Ubud Central Market is part of the plan to create the Ulapan tourism destination. And Ulapan is an acronym formed from the names of 3 areas, Ubud, Tegalalang, and Payangan. The rebranding and revitalization of Ubud will occur over 2 years, 2023 and 2024. Everything's being rebranded. My God. But meanwhile, some of the traders are refusing to shift their activities to the designated alternate parking lot. Instead, they are setting up makeshift kiosks on nearby roadsides and over the roadside gutters along Jalan Raya Ubud. Suwija complained that these pop-up businesses began spontaneously appearing in this February, and he admitted that local officials are reluctant to take firm action against them because of the depressed economic condition, especially in Ubud. In response to a question about what the government is going to do about these unruly traders, he refused to answer. He did say everything is connected to the difficult current situation. Any next step must be carefully considered and jointly agreed upon by all segments of society. We are looking for a humanitarian solution. And here is an interesting one. Minister Sandiaga Uno responds to travel scam case in Labuan, Bajo. And so as we're getting open, we've got some cases here, people getting scammed and things. I do not understand why people in the travel business are trying to scam people when we're trying to bring people back. The last thing we need is bad reputation. Pak Sandiaga Uno urged tourists to be careful in choosing a travel agent in order to avoid travel scams, specifically those offering packages at low prices. Moreover, he said, those offering unrealistic travel packages online. And he issued this statement in response to the travel scam experienced by TikTok artist Kelly Courtney and her entourage. Okay, now I never heard of Kelly Courtney, so I decided to go look this up, and I went on TikTok a little while ago, and she has 2.1 million followers, and she has a lot of videos, just like most of these influencers, of her dancing around and singing and dressed in different outfits, all socially redeeming stuff. Well, she was apparently ripped off by a travel scam by a shady travel agent and paid 12 million rupees for a package in Labuan, Bajo. Fortunately, she's gotten her money back, and there is on her TikTok channel, she's crying over the situation. I don't know why people want to put themselves crying on social media, but influencers seem to like to do that. Anyways, they get the money back, and that's another one of her TikTok things where she's saying she got her money back. As the case went viral, the tourism ministry, along with the culture agency in Labuan Bajo, Florida's authority, investigated the case and feared that it may tarnish the good image of Labuan Bajo tourism as a super priority destination. And according to Pak Sandiaga Uno, it turned out to be committed by an employee of the travel agent. And so the travel agency has refunded the money that this poor influencer lost. And Pak Sandiaga Uno reminded tourists to first check the legality of the travel agent before traveling on vacation. Specifically for Labuan Bajo, tourists could rely on the list of official 263 travel agents. Okay, so if you're coming to Indonesia and you're going to use a travel agent, make sure that you get a reputable one. There are a lot of people out here now getting into the tourism game again as people start to come back, and yeah, well, you know, Indonesia does have its share of scams. And here's an interesting story that's gone viral over the past couple of days. Entering Kintamani, Indonesian rupiah 25,000 is charged for Indonesian citizens, and Indonesian rupiah 50,000 for foreigners, Bangli Regency Government. So the levies and tourist attractions in the Kintamani area is back in the news again. This follows a viral video showing the obligation of some tourists to pay Kintamani entrance tickets. And that video, wow, it is everywhere. In the video uploaded on Instagram social media, it appears that tourists show receipts for paying entrance tickets to the Kintamani area. And on the statement, it revealed that residents will be charged 25,000 rupees and foreign citizens 50,000. And now, all entrances to the Kintamani area will have a post where you'll be examined when you get there. You'll be asked where you're going and what you're going to do. Isn't it going to be pleasant? When asked about this, the party in charge said that the policy was only inaugurated yesterday. This is the day before yesterday. And the video has provoked comments from netizens, not a few who commented sarcastically by participating in applying tariffs when passing through their territory. And when I mentioned this to several people in Belig, they said exactly the same thing. Let them come here. We'll charge them. They want to use the public roads. So there are people who are asking why they have to pay even though this is a public road. And there's people who are confused about why they have to pay when they just want to go home. Responding to the viral video, the head of Bangli Tourism and Culture Office, Iwayan Sugiyarta, explained that this levy is a mandate from the Bangli Regent Regulation number 37 of 2019. And that was put in place before, and then there was a lot of blowback on this, and then it was put on the shelf, supposedly because of COVID-19, and we'll do it again when COVID-19 is over. Well, COVID-19 is not over yet, but it looks like tourists are coming back, so Bangli doesn't want to get behind in charging people for using their public roads. According to Pak Sugiyarta, this levy only applies to people who travel in Kintamani, not people who are passing through, and not for residents who want to come home. He said, indeed, everyone who wants to pass by will be stopped and asked where they're going on a trip or something like that. For those who want to pray, those who are just passing through, they want to go to their homes of relatives that are native to the area, well, we won't charge anything. So in other words, if you want to go and take a look at the volcano or the lake, or if you want to go and one of those new shops, those coffee shops along the rim, well, you're going to have to pay to do that. There's going to be a fee now, which means, well, I won't be going to the coffee shops. So Pak Sugiarto said he will be reporting to Bangli's regent after this viral video. And what are they going to do? I don't know. He said that the Bangli regent had proposed to the governor of Bali to divert the provincial route to Jalan Bayung Gede so that there's a special pass for those who just want to pass. So if you know where Jalan Bayung Gede is, it's down some. So you're not going to be going up along the rim. You're not going to see the volcano. You're not going to see the lake. You're not going to see the coffee shops. If you want to go there, you're going to have to pay. Bayung Gede, you're going to be diverted down southeast, I forget which, west, and you take that road there and travel along that way to wherever it comes out. I don't know. I never followed that road all the way down, but it's not a particularly scenic route. If you want to do the scenic route, you're going to have to pay for it. So pay per view. And in addition to figuring out how they can charge people more money, they are launching Bangli tourism branding logo. And in addition to the logo, it should be mentioned that this money that's going to be collected is being done through e-ticketing. So part of this e-ticketing is it is supposed to make things more transparent about why they're collecting the money and where the money is going to. Whereas in the past, you just had somebody come and write something on a slip of paper and give it to you. You didn't know what you were paying for, who you were paying to. This is going to make it better. I don't know how people are going to feel about this. Bangli's regent said that tourism in Bangli Regency has experienced very good development and is able to improve the quality of life to the surrounding community with this multiplier effect. And that Bangli Regency has interesting tourist attractions that other regions in Bali don't have. And that's true. You've got the volcano, that's interesting. You've got the lake up there, that's interesting. You've got all those new coffee shops. Nice place to go. This is very popular with domestic people who like to go up there and do selfies and have some coffee. Are they going to continue to do this if they're going to have to pay an additional fee to use the coffee shops, the road there? I don't know. We'll have to see. 25,000 rupees. So 25,000 rupees for a local person is about $2, and well, 50,000 for a foreigner. Now, what if I go by there? Obviously, I'm a foreigner, but I also a resident. So, am I going to pay 25,000? Am I going to pay 50,000? So, the new e-ticketing is supposed to increase the positive image of Bangli Regency tourism, which doesn't have all that good an image in Bali. And so, Pak Sugiarto said branding in a tourist destination is very necessary to face competition in this modern era. He said in addition to restoring the image of Bangli in the future and increasing tourism confidence, Bangli historically is the origin of Balinese civilization as evidenced by various archaeological finds and inscriptions from the ancient Balinese kingdoms, along with the uniqueness and beauty of the natural landscape of the Batu Geopark, which has been designated by UNESCO as the first geopark in Indonesia in 2012. And is one of the most beautiful geoparks in the world. And so he concluded, the experience of traveling to find out more about the authenticity of Bali can be enjoyed in Bangli Regency. So Bangli is the origin of Bali. And so what do you think about that? Leave a comment below. And I haven't had any foreigners doing bad things lately. Well, here's a weird one. Police say there are two versions of persecution between three Caucasians in Canggu. In Canggu, of course. And so what is this? This is a fight that broke out in a Canggu bar, a restaurant, between a Russian, a British guy, and an Australian. This sounds like one of those jokes. Three guys walk into the bar. So the Bali police received 2 reports of a fight at the Behind the Green Door discotheque up in Canggu, with 2 different versions of the fight. And, well, they both reported to the police. And so one Russian claimed to have been beaten, and the police received the report from him and also from the Australian and the British fellow. And so the police are still examining witnesses and checking CCTV related to the alleged criminal acts of persecution. What a bizarre situation. So what happened here? Well, so according to this article, the Russian fellow goes to the nightclub. He's invited by the British and Australian guys, and they sit around and they drink and eat and listen to music. And everything is cool until around 3 o'clock in the morning when the bill comes. And the bill was originally given to the Russian fellow, who then gives it to the British and Australian folks, and they didn't want to pay for it because they said it was too much. So there was a debate, and then after some time, apparently one of the two of them slapped the Russian guy until he fell and sprained 3 fingers. When he woke up, it was Fraser's turn, that's one of the two guys, to bite his hand. Now, it turns out then that the Russian guy says he's willing to pay 20%, and 80% should be paid by the British and Australian gentlemen. And after that, the Russian left the scene. However, he was followed by the 2 blokes who got him at the front door and beat him on the face, right temple, right jaw, left eyebrow, and bruised his ear too, and he got stitches. And so this is under investigation. And drugs, a huge drug bust. 17 kilograms of Shabu with a value of tens of billions, cocaine and ecstasy. So police have succeeded in apprehending 2 members of a drug syndicate with the evidence of up to 17 kilograms of crystal meth, cocaine, and hundreds of ecstasy pills. According to information obtained by sources in the police department, the 2 high-profile traffickers were arrested in South Denpasar, and at that time they were conducting transactions using the patch system. Okay, well, I'm not sure what the patch system is. That's probably something younger people use that I don't know about. If you know what the patch system is, leave a comment below, please. According to a police source who is not named, it's worth tens of billions of rupees. It's not clear yet where the 17 kilograms of methamphetamine, cocaine, and ecstasy came from because the police are still investigating the case. But this is definitely what we don't need in Bali. And you may remember I talked about a restaurant being closed. What was it called? The Boozy restaurant, I think. Well, again, violating Prokes restaurants in Batu, Belig, installed police lines. So joint patrol team between the Badung Police, Kodim, and Satpol closed a restaurant located in Jalan Raya Batu Belig in North Kuta, Badung. The restaurant's name was Bening Kitchen, and it was closed because it's suspected of violating health protocols. And as I mentioned, just like Boozy Kitchen and Bar, which was closed earlier, the Bening Kitchen had police lines put up around it. This is according to the head of public relations of the Badung Police, who confirmed this activity took place on Saturday night. So what are the violations? The violations are that visitors were not keeping their distance and the restaurant was not using the PL app. Okay, and well, a lot of places aren't using the PL app. Visitors in the restaurant were asked to leave, and unlike the Boozy Kitchen incident, there's nothing reported here of patrons yelling at the police. And the officer appealed to employees to always obey Prokes and not to repeat the same thing. Furthermore, the officer also gave a summons to the restaurant owner and said that they will give him a warning and some coaching on how to keep people socially distant. I don't know. Okay, time for update wrap up. No update today. I'm just going to do a quick wrap up here. So nobody really knows what's going on with quarantine-free travel. It could be in March, it could be in April, could be in June. Who knows? We just have to wait and see. And the visas, no word yet on if there is going to be a VOA, although a lot of people are pushing for it. And my guess, and this is a guess, is that the VOA will come sometime before June, when we expect to get a lot of tourists normally. So if you are traveling and you're waiting for the VOA, I would wait a little bit longer and see what's happening with masks and social distancing. Again, more and more people not wearing masks, not social distancing. And the PL app, really, the government keeps saying you have to have it everywhere. As I've said before, I've been asked twice. I don't know what's going on with the PL PL. The government keeps saying the PL. You have to use the PL, but nobody up here seems to be using it. And that's it. If you found this video useful, helpful, amusing, non-irritating, I say the same thing every week, please give it a thumbs up. And if you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. New Bali COVID-19 updates every Wednesday and Sunday, and a cooking video on Sundays. This Sunday's cooking video coming up is on beef rendang. We did this one pretty straightforward. Both of us were sick, and so there's not a lot of the goofy silliness as usual. This is just a straightforward, here's the cooking, and bingo, it's done. Okay, thanks for viewing. Be kind to someone today, stay safe, and I will see you on Sunday.